The Hustle Share podcast is brought to you by Payoneer, a digital payment platform that provides online money transfer with its fast, flexible, secure, and low-cost solutions. Businesses across the world can pay and get paid globally. Visit Payoneer.com now. Also by Chatbot PH. Save time and effort for your business. Automate how your team does customer service, marketing, and key redundant processes, all by using a chatbot. Invest in your own chatbot now and use AI to run your business. Go to www.chatbot.ph.
But now that I'm older and I know the money is there, I know the popularity is there, I actually don't even care about the popularity much anymore. I actually don't enjoy it at all, because I just want more privacy now.
Welcome to Hustle Share, the podcast that features the daily grinds of unique hustlers around the world to show not our differences, but that our hustles are very much alike. Now here's your host, Ronster Bae-pyong.
Welcome to episode 45 of the Hustle Share podcast. My name is Ronster, and I'm your host. And this episode is powered by Payoneer, a digital payment platform that provides online money transfer, empowering businesses around the world to grow globally. But before we begin, I'd like to remind you that this podcast contains adult language, so make sure there are no kids around when you're listening to this. Because today we are going to be talking to a YouTuber, and his name is Matthew Tran, the CEO of Engineered Truth. And Matthew is not just an ordinary YouTuber because his viewership is worldwide, all the way from where he started out back in the States. And today he's going to be sharing how he started out back in 2011 and how difficult it was to get his audience to catch up to what he was doing because YouTube was not as big as it was now. Matt is also going to be sharing with us the tools and the early strategies that he used to finally grow his audience. And it gets interesting from there because Matt is going to give tips of how to monetize your YouTube videos. Also, Matt was generous enough to answer the questions from our Hustle Share community that our hustlers gave ahead of time. Like how to grow your YouTube channel from scratch and how to scale it to hundreds and thousands of subscribers. And get ready to take down notes because Matt also shared how to respond to criticism and how to invest once you start making money out of YouTube. So if you're ready to learn the hustle of a business and career YouTuber, let's begin this episode right now. Welcome to the latest episode of the Hustle Share podcast. Wow, this is probably one of the most interesting episodes we'll ever have because this is so timely given that we're talking to a legit YouTuber. And I'm talking about Mr. Matthew Tran, the CEO of Engineered Truth. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey Ron, thanks for having me and welcome to my house. Right now we're filming in my condo here in BGC.
Dude, the most amazing shit I've ever seen in a while. I mean, BGC is beautiful, but you're literally looking at the golf course. So that's really amazing. So again, Matt, real quick, as I've always asked all of my guests, Matt, what's your hustle?
My main hustle is my YouTube channel called Engineered Truth. I've been doing it since August 1st, 2011.
Oh, wow.
So this is my eighth year doing it.
Shit.
Yeah. And so what I do is I make videos that educate people in the States about different careers. But I've been doing it for 8 years and I've been getting bored of it lately. And
Oh, wow.
so I'm going to transition into business. So I might lose a lot of my audience. It's a bit of a worry for me, but it's more like I'd rather make something I somewhat care about than make videos I don't care about at all.
Sounds good. But for those people who haven't at least watched a video of yours and whatnot, what's your scope in Engineered Truth that you talk about?
The story behind it is that I was in college in the States, and in the States, college is really expensive, and so
Right.
A lot of students take out really big loans, amounts that they think they could pay off easily after college, but really they can't.
Yeah.
So they're taking out like 5 million peso loans, 10 million peso loans
Wow.
to get a degree in something that isn't even going to help them. We'll say something like criminology
Right.
or sociology. And so they take out these big loans, spend 4 years in school, and then in the end they get a job that they could have got without the degree.
Right.
And so it's a
So
big,
now you have a big debt, and your student loan. It takes a while for you to pay that back.
with no job, and often in the States, most of our degrees don't have on-job training.
Got it.
As crazy as that sounds to people in the Philippines,
Right.
to not have an on-job training as part of your degree, most degrees in the States don't even have on-job training. And the
Shit.
reason being is because it doesn't train you for any job.
It's just a title or
It's just a
diploma that you
title.
get, right?
And so I started making videos to talk about, there are some degrees that do train you for a job. My favorite one being computer science.
Of course.
Right? And other ones, many of the business degrees are very practical.
Right.
Obviously, the medical field, very practical.
Right.
But outside of that, that only represents a small fraction of degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So I started making videos talking about the more practical degrees. Then there's another plot twist in this story.
Okay.
In that I started working as a mechanical engineer,
Oh.
and then I hated it. I got fired from all
Wow.
3 engineering jobs I've ever had.
Shoot.
And I didn't even last very long. I think at my internship, I lasted a year, which was the longest.
Wow.
But at my jobs, I lasted less than 6 months.
What didn't you like while you were doing that?
The paperwork. It
Really?
was what I thought in mechanical engineering was gonna be like was that I was gonna work on interesting things, and maybe I wasn't gonna work on it in the very beginning,
Okay.
but at least I should have the potential to one day work on interesting things.
Okay.
So I started working as an engineer, and I saw what the senior engineers did because we should all share the same office.
Right.
So I thought, wow, in 10 years, I'm still doing paperwork, but it's like slightly more advanced paperwork. It's like so
Holy shit.
I saw the writing on the wall, and I
Okay.
thought the pay wasn't very good either. I mean,
Wow.
my internship, I was getting paid pretty well, like $21 an hour, which is pretty good for an internship. But
Okay.
at my first full-time job, I was getting paid $17.50 an hour.
Oh wow.
And to compare that for people at home, $17.50 an hour is something that you could get at a job that doesn't require a degree.
Exactly.
So then why did I go to college for something that's difficult, such as mechanical engineering,
Right.
to get a job? And I think engineers here in the Philippines don't get paid very much either. I think it's something around 20,000 pesos or something
Yeah.
we're
For
starting.
entry level, but it depends also on, of course, like any kind of degree, it's experience.
It's
right?
experience,
But you
right,
can't just
right.
shove experience up your throat and then, I'm an experience. It's not a Pokemon, right? You know, you have to spend time and a lot of effort to get to that level, right? And in order for you to get that means living like shit for a long time.
A long time.
Right. So from your end, Matt, when you did this, what was your first step outside of your comfort zone then? I mean, so you said, okay, engineering is not for me. What did you start doing next?
So I already was making the channel while I was being an engineer.
Okay.
And so I made my first video after I came home from a frustrating day at work.
What year was this? 2011?
2011.
How was YouTube back in 2011? Because back then, this was like fucking Justin Bieber shit and all that. But the YouTuber, there's not a lot of YouTubers yet. Or I'm not even sure it was a proper profession back then.
What I've learned is that people will always say it's too late. Even in 2011, people were saying it's too late. Like,
Really?
People were saying, it's too late to get into YouTube. Like, there's no way it's going to happen.
Right,
It's too
right.
late because in 2011, there was a couple channels that were about to hit 1 million subscribers. That was
Yes.
when PewDiePie was about to hit 1 million.
PewDiePie.
The Wong Fu,
Wong Fu,
they're
those
about to
fun.
hit, they hit about
Right.
like 600,000 or 700,000 at the time. And so if you're making a new channel and you're like, oh man, how can I compete with these people who have like
Right.
700,000? But I think something to consider if you're out there, you're planning on making content,
Right.
is that people like me who have already shared my story, we're actually a little bit disadvantaged because people are used to us already. We're not new, we're not fresh. It's like, I would relate it to, if you watch 7 seasons of Game of Thrones, which I'm
Right.
on my 7th season of Engineer Truth. After a while,
It gets old.
it's like I got it
Right.
already. Like
Right.
I get it. Like there's a reason why they cut most shows at the 3rd season or the 4th season
Sure.
because it's hard to keep it fresh.
Yeah.
And so
that's why Joe Rogan, like whoever, or PewDiePie, like what I said,
Yeah.
dude, the guy just keeps going, but I don't know how he fucking reinvents himself because eventually
Yeah.
you're gonna hit a wall.
Yeah.
Right. So for you, everybody was starting like you're too late and whatnot.
Yeah.
What made you jump? It's like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna do this shit.
Well, one thing I had for me at the time was that there's no career channels, and if there was, it was very generic. It was along the lines of, well, I think you should study philosophy because it helps you how to critically think. I was
Right.
like, yeah, that's pretty crappy. So I knew that I was an underserved. At the time, before I started my channel, there wasn't very many career channels. So I think the career channels at the time, they're very lame. They were not experts in what
Right.
they're talking about. They would say things like, oh yeah, you should study philosophy because it'll teach you how to critically think. And so I knew me coming in, being
Right.
more realistic, I had an edge in an underserved market.
Yep.
But I wouldn't say you have to be in an underserved market or you have to pick something that is out of necessity.
Right.
I think as long as you pick something that is something that you really care about, but at the same time you have some sort of edge or something unique to bring to the table, I think you should definitely be a content creator. But what I think, where I see a lot of people fail, particularly
Right.
vloggers in the Philippines.
Yeah, because it's the same shit, new day. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And it's all about themselves. It's like, oh, 3 things we miss about the Philippines because now we're, OFWs.
Right.
And I'm like, dude, why would I care about the things that you miss? I don't really, that's very particular to you.
Right, right.
Right?
No, it's a copycat league. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So if somebody gets it, like for example, like a Will Dasovich, everybody tries
Yeah.
to be Will Dasovich, or a Kong TV, everybody wants to be the next Kong TV. But before we do a deep dive on that, Matt, after this, you did social media, right? Now, what did you learn while you're doing social media that you were able to apply to up your game in the YouTube content that you're putting in?
Yeah, so after I got fired from 3 engineering jobs, I
Right.
decided to do my YouTube channel full time.
Okay.
And it didn't go the way I planned. I
Alright.
was making around 12,000 pesos a month in the US.
Right. So, but you monetize right away.
I monetized.
Right.
I tried to monetize right away. Yeah.
Okay.
But this was just from what YouTube gave me.
Okay.
So I really couldn't make enough money. So I got different jobs
Okay.
in media, social media.
Right.
That not only fed me, paid
Right.
for my bills in the meantime, but also taught me a lot. So
Right.
I made product videos for e-commerce company that was eventually put on YouTube.
Okay.
And then after I did that for 9 months.
Wow.
And that was a grind. That was me learning how to make videos that sell products, physical products.
Right. QVC stuff? Like, what were those products like?
One was hydroponics.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Shoot,
which
hydroponics, a couple years ago, at least now it's just getting normal here.
Yeah.
But hydroponics, city farming is fucking different, right?
Yeah. So I learned all about hydroponics, and it's mainly used to grow cannabis.
Right.
Can we cut that?
No, we good.
Okay.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's primarily used to grow cannabis. Like
Right.
almost, I would say like 90% of our customers used it to grow cannabis. But when we're on the
Wow.
phone, side story. But when we're on the phone, we can't say, we can't give them help saying, oh, to grow
Sure,
cannabis.
of
So we
course,
said,
of course.
oh, like, yeah, we can help you grow your tomatoes, no problem. And the guy's like, who would buy this expensive
Oh, wow.
$1,000 set to grow tomatoes?
Right.
Like nobody's gonna do that. It doesn't make any sense. You just buy tomatoes.
It has to be a different kind of plant.
It has to be a different kind of plan.
Right.
So I did that for 9 months. Then I worked as a social media manager for uprocks.com.
Uprocks. Wow.
Yeah, they're like a BuzzFeed, but a little bit more adult, a little bit more professional.
A little bit of borderline Vice.
They're like kind of like Vice, but a boringer Vice, more
Right,
boring
right.
Vice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so I managed their social media for 6 months, and then I was social media manager for Bro Science Life for
Right.
a year and a half. So I managed their Facebook and Instagram account while I was building up my YouTube channel at the same time.
Got it. But what were the key skills? Just looking back there. All right. You now know the YouTube stuff. I mean, the video stuff, social media. Is there now a formula that you were able to come up with while doing hustle for other people and
Yeah.
trying to make ends meet that you were able to apply that till now you're still using?
I would say the formula definitely is, I wasn't so egotistic to say that, I see so many people say, I just want to do it on my own. Like, I just want to make YouTube videos or maybe Instagrammer. I just want to do it on my own without ever having to work for somebody else.
Okay.
But we're in a phase of online business where a lot of these Instagrammers, a lot of these YouTubers, even here in the Philippines, they have lower roles that they need to fulfill. Like even my team, I have a graphic designer, I have a video editor.
Right.
I have someone that just subtitle stuff and transcribe stuff, right? And one of the more boring jobs.
Right.
But either way, they have no choice but to learn about what it's like being a YouTuber.
True.
Because they're in the industry. So if you're looking to be a social media presence in the future, like you
Right.
should work for someone, even if that means being their assistant. It's not glorious. It's
Correct.
not going to be a forever thing, but it's something where you're going to learn so much faster and you're going to get paid to learn. And I think when
Right.
people do it that way, I think it's much, much better. Like my experiences of being social media manager didn't just pay the bills. It taught me a lot. And I think people that are willing to do that, put themselves in the ecosystem, have a lot higher chance of being successful than people who don't. And then I think the last thing is, for me, since I spend a lot of time on social media, I'm very social media savvy. So when I was managing the social media accounts, whenever I made a post that was for organic, it always
Right.
got a lot of engagement. And it sounds dumb, like, wow, like, how many times have your parents told you, oh, you spend too much time on social media, it's a waste of time?
Got
Well,
it.
unfortunately, yeah, it can be, but if you get a job in social media, it can
Right.
actually help you a lot because you know what kind of posts are going to get more engagement.
Sounds good. All right, now Matt, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, let's do a deep dive now on what you do as a YouTuber, how you started out, and all the nitty-gritty that people need to know. But more of that after the break. Hey hustlers, let's take a quick break from the episode to talk about a big mistake I did early in my own hustle as a startup founder, and that's going all in on my startup without having any other source of income. Now, you might say that's weird because we talk about going all in a lot in this podcast, but allow me to tell you what exactly happened to me early on. Back in my first startup called Party Foul, I resigned from my day job thinking that I'm gonna get funded when I started winning pitching competitions because I thought I was gonna get funded very soon. But the reality is, it took me 3 years to get funded, and I was very broke during that time. And just because I wanted to go all in, I didn't take any side hustle. And the bad thing was, I was dependent on my startup for my survival while I was trying to grow it. So I ended up getting a lot of bad deals because I was desperate. So in my next startup, which is Chatbot PH, I made sure that I'm not going to make the same mistake. So I got into the art of freelancing. By making enough money on the side to make ends meet, it allowed my startup to flourish and get acquired in just 12 months after I put it up. But that wouldn't happen if I didn't get paid on time. And there's one product that I relied on heavily to get paid easily, and it's Payoneer. Payoneer saved me from a lot of hassle because it's the fastest way to get paid, especially if you're doing freelancing. And the cool thing about it is that it goes straight to your bank account, so you don't have to worry about your money getting stuck in a wallet somewhere. So whether you're a freelancer, e-commerce seller, digital marketer, or any hustler that requires B2B payment, I highly recommend that you use Payoneer to get your money. So register now and go to Payoneer.com or download the Payoneer app on the App Store or Google Play. Alright, let's get back to the show. And we're back from the break. We're still with Matthew Tran of Engineered Truth. And I love the way your content is because it's very similar to Hustle. In a way, Hustle Share, I was just trying to force empathy towards people. Because sometimes that's what we like. We like to one-up each other. Like, you know what? My hustle is better than you. Just because I'm in a startup, you suck, you're an accountant. Well, no. A lot of what we discuss here in the show, technically, is our similarities. That, oh shit, we always have the same demons. We have the same, stuff that we have to go over with. And we just need to be able to talk about it. Now, for you, Matt, when you started, how did you... And it's always the start that's hardest, right? How did you begin the journey? How did you like hesitate a lot, or how did you just like, you know what, fuck it? What are the first things you did to get your content out?
Yeah, I think one of the first things I did correctly on accident was I had a little bit of controversial title. My
Okay.
first video was called "The Only Majors to Go to College For," so I put it up,
Okay.
and I was so scared about what other people would think that I didn't check my account for 4 months.
Oh wow!
I was too scared to read the YouTube comments. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Now I don't care anymore. You get really used to it, but that was the beginning. And so that one got some traction to it. It got a few thousand views, got me like 50 subscribers, which was really good. But then I made like several videos after that, and none of them
Right.
got much traction at all.
Right.
So it took quite a grind. I think it took me honestly 1 year to get 1,000 subscribers.
Wow! But how did you get from 0 to 1,000? You know, that's also the question of our Hustle Share community guy, Brian Aquilino, I think, who wanted to ask this question on his behalf, right? Well, how do you get from 0 to 1,000 real quick?
I think the most important thing is you have to have titles that generate some sort of curiosity.
Clickbait.
Yeah, it has to be clickbait. And so for me, I was thinking, how can I make career stuff clickbait? It's not really the most clickbaity thing. So I came out with a pretty popular series called is blank a good major. So I started off with is mechanical engineering a good major, and so I got some pretty good clicks. And then I put is electrical engineering a good major, because I knew there was a lot of college students at the time searching for information about college related things. So I did that, and it got me some pretty good popularity. And I would say the videos themselves were pretty bad, but despite being bad, because I had a good title, I still got a good amount of views. And I think you definitely have to play with titles and try to make them very clickbaity, but you got to ride that line and not making it too clickbaity, because the most important part with YouTube now, with the algorithm changes in the past couple of years, is the recurring subscribers to click on your videos. It's not so much like a search engine like it used to be.
Okay, now in terms of tools, right? I mean, this is very important, right? The stuff that you make your content with. You started out having, you said, crappy videos. Was it because you had crappy, hardware? And how did you improve that over the years? And what were the type of tools that you kind of use to make better videos now?
Yeah, I hate it when someone asks me. It's a huge pet peeve of mine.
Right.
When someone messages me. And I just got this actually just 2 days ago.
Okay.
He messaged me on my personal Facebook saying, hey Matt, like I really love your videos. I was just wondering, I'm thinking about starting a channel.
Right.
And I have an iPhone 7, and I was wondering if you could just give me some tips. And
that's so random.
It's super. First of all, I don't know why you messaged me on my personal Facebook, but the second thing is, I don't like it when people ask for tips when they haven't even
started.
They haven't even started. Because what I see is that they're just looking for an excuse, like, oh, I just don't know enough information to start. But if I know enough information to start, then I could start. Correct. It doesn't work like that. You got to start first, and then see how you do, see how you perform.
Get your feet wet.
Get your feet wet. Get some feedback. And so when I started, I didn't know jack.
Got it.
I invested in a $70 Logitech webcam.
Wow.
And that was the only thing. And I think with the webcam by itself, I think I reached like a couple thousand subscribers.
Wow.
And
it took you far.
Took me quite far.
Yeah.
And then eventually I got a DSLR around like 5,000 subscribers, which then I had to learn how to use that. But again, like you don't need that. Like you can.
Yeah.
And every video creator says this, and like it's so funny. Like every video creator says this, but you can create really good content with just your phone. Then every person that's new says like, no way. I have to have like I have to have a DSLR, a mirrorless, the new Panasonic GH5. Like no, you don't. Like you just need.
That's sponsored content too.
I know. I need investors too, right?
There you go.
You always need investors and the best camera. No. What you really need is just good storytelling.
And grit and a lot of fire to fucking get started, right?
Yeah, the people that say like, oh, well, I just need to know enough, or I need this camera equipment to get started, I just think you're just making excuses, and you just don't want it. For me, it was more about me just sharing my message about what careers to do, and it wasn't so much about, oh, I have to have the perfect video. And if you're out there and you're like, oh, man, like, you have a lot of resistance to making videos, like you've been thinking about it for several years.
Right.
My best suggestion is that you just give up on it. And I hate to say that, because if you were really meant to make videos, you wouldn't let a little bit of resistance stop you. Because the people that I know that are YouTubers, which are many of my friends are, they just got the camera and just started making videos and hit publish. It's almost like how, I'll make it more relatable to those watching. Like you would see Manny Pacquiao and you watch him fight. Like he just fought last week. A lot of people want, oh, I don't want to be a boxer. I want to be a boxer. Right. Yeah, all right. Well, when it's time to step in the ring, it's like, oh, I don't know. And I'm the same way. Like when I saw Manny Pacquiao box, I'm like, damn, I want to be a boxer. Right. But when I think about it, the training, the getting hit in the head,
the pain, whatever,
the diet, right? You can't even drink, all that kind of stuff. I'm like, nah. I like the fantasy of being a boxer, but I don't like what the boxer actually has to go through. True. I think when it comes to being a YouTuber or any kind of social media influencer, it's exactly the same.
Got it.
And that you like the idea of doing it, you like the idea of having sponsors and getting paid to travel, but when it comes down to making a storyline, writing a script, hitting record,
Right.
having someone edit the video or editing it yourself.
Right.
You don't like the actuality of it, which means you actually don't like it.
Did you ever have any issues with confidence? I mean, at the end of the day, like for me, when I was starting Hustle Show, holy fuck, I was like, it took me forever. People, the 3-minute intro that I usually make took an hour and a half to just fucking do because it was so hard, right? For you, was it like easy right away, or did you grow that confidence as you went along?
No, I mean, I still suck at talking in front of the camera. I was recording myself today,
right?
And because I haven't recorded in a week, I feel like I was very monotone,
jittery, right?
Very, very monotone and very stuck,
right?
What I've learned in a way, and I just learned this today, is for me, I keep getting better and better, and for a while, I just had this epiphany today.
Right.
Is I tried to mimic other people, other YouTubers who have more energy. You know, you can imagine like PewDiePie, or even in my entrepreneurial space.
Right.
A lot of them would be like, "Hey guys, today we're gonna talk about how to get your first 1,000 subs. Are you guys ready? Smash that like button." And then I'd be like, "God damn!" So I would try to do that. And
Right.
then it really wasn't me.
Yes.
And so when I would watch the footage, it just looked so forced. So even if I'm the calm demeanor guy, even though it's not cliche, you know, this entrepreneur like, "Hey guys, today we're in Bali. We're gonna go jump off some cliffs. We're gonna check out Butu. Hey man, and then we're gonna go play with some goddamn monkeys." Right. Like and when I see that, when I see they get like hundreds of thousands of views, I'm like,
Right.
oh man, I got to do that too because that's what people like.
Yes.
But what I discovered is like I got to tell the story in my way, and I'll attract the people that like me. And it might be a smaller crowd, but at least that crowd, I don't have to have 100,000 subscribers or 100,000 viewers
Got it.
To make money. Like I honestly only get like a few thousand views per video now, and I
Okay.
still make more than enough money to live.
Absolutely. But walk us through the daily grind now. Like for example, how often do you record, and what's the preparation like to be able to get something, especially when you're putting up a show? There's a lot of back end work that happens before that video comes through. So how does that happen for you?
Yeah, the way I see it is that when I record, it's like a performance.
Got it.
And that just like how if you're going to perform as a dancer,
Yeah.
most of the work is done before.
Exactly.
You're not performing, you're not practicing, like, you know, you're doing 80 hours of practice, 100 hours of practice, 200 hours of practice before you go on stage. And so for me, it's not the same way. I don't have to have it be perfect because it's a video, I could cut it, but I have to put a lot of thought into it, like a lot of thought into what I'm going to say. And it's more about, for me, at least being an educational channel,
Right.
it's more about the words that are coming out of my mouth than anything else.
Okay.
And so if I'm saying some really cool things, some really educational things, whether I say it with a monotone or a little bit excited or a little bit flat, it's okay, because what people are really listening in for, the 80% of the juice, is what I'm saying, not so much of how I'm saying it.
Okay, now in terms of what people don't really see, I mean, they see the finished product.
Yeah.
Right? For you, what do you spend the most time on in making a new video, right? This is I mean, there's routinary stuff, but as you move along and you keep doing it, you can become better. But there's some stuff that really have to like toil at it. What are those?
I want to make sure I'm never saying something that's already been said before,
That's hard.
which is really hard.
How do you make sure you don't get that done? I mean, how you don't make that thing happen to you?
I'm really aware of what's being said in the space. I follow all my friends who are also entrepreneurial influencers, and I kind of get a pulse of where everything is at. So
Okay.
one of the things I'm saying right now is that you shouldn't build multiple sources of income. You should buy them if you have a high-paying job. And so I know that goes against the grain, because if you look at the entrepreneurial space, everyone's telling you to start your own dropshipping store,
Right.
or your own Amazon FBA store, or
Right.
your own social media marketing agency. And I look at it, I'm like, yeah, it could work. There's definitely a lot of people who are out there who have made it work.
Right.
But for every person that's made it work, is there like 50 other people who didn't make it work? And so what I think, this especially applies to people in the States more so.
Right.
If you have like a high income job, like you're an engineer, pharmacist, or dentist, and you want out, or you want some supplemental income, don't try to make your own social media marketing agency or dropshipping store. Just buy one that is already a profitable business that already has systems in place.
Gets.
And
So
get
you
your
don't
return
have
that
to
way.
pay the early mistakes, because that's what you're paying for, really,
Right.
right? The early mistakes that they've already hurdled on, so that you don't have to pay those mistakes as well. Because it's, aside from the cost, the pain that you have to go through, and I'm not sure, you're not even sure if you actually have it to get past that, right? Because you're coming from a place of comfort, right? And it's hard. That's very risky. It's a risky business to get that done. Now, last question before we go to another break. In terms of lifestyle, right? We always see, how glamorous YouTubers are. You are the new age celebrities. Let's just admit it. Look at your fucking pad here. This is amazing. But in terms of lifestyle, how much does values come into place? Because at the end of the day, if you're an idiot with your finances, right, and you make a lot of money, but you make it rain, how are those values and ethics come to play to make sure that you sustain and you become a better version of yourself?
I think lifestyle is the main reason I chose to be a YouTuber or influencer, because I knew that this had the potential to have at least a recurring revenue feel to it, even though it's not genuinely recurring revenue, because if I stop making videos, I stop making money gradually. But I definitely chose being a YouTuber for the lifestyle. For me, as funny as it sounds, like a lot of it is survival, just like you, just like the people listening, and that. Like right now, I made a digital product, Engineer Truth Premium, and that product took me about two months to make, to think about, to make the videos, to set up the website.
Right.
And so because of that, my regular Engineer Truth, the YouTube channel, kind of fell.
Of course.
Because I wasn't making good organic content for it, and so the revenue from the YouTube channel fell. And so I'm looking at dip, right? I'm looking at, okay, like I made 30% what I used to make about 2 months ago. It's starting to, if I want to keep up like living this lifestyle, I have to keep working. And so a lot of it, just like anybody else, is survival and maintaining the lifestyle that you're used to. And a lot of it for me is I will only make a product that I think is unique, but also really helps someone out there. So for Engineer Truth Premium, it's just $20 a month, and about 4 or 5 of my friends told me that it's a mistake.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why?
Because right now, what's happening in the Amazon FBA courses, the dropshipping courses in America, everyone's charging $1,000. Wow. That's what everyone's doing. That's what's popular.
Yeah.
So I'm going against the grain, and I'm saying, you know what? I don't need to charge someone $1,000. I can charge someone $20.
You're like
month.
forever on sale on Udemy right now. That's what they do, right? Like those really crazy courses on Udemy for $1,000 or $500, and then you only have that small sliver of opportunity to do it at $20 a pop. But that's like a few hours only. But you're doing that forever.
Right.
What do you see there? That, if your friends are telling you you're wrong, what are you seeing here that they're not seeing?
In my opinion, what they're not saying is that people are so used to $1,000 offer that they're almost sick of the $1,000 offer. Like, another $1,000 course. Like, what people gotta understand is that there's a lot of people who bought these $1,000 courses and then they felt like they got ripped off because say you bought a $1,000, I'm gonna be an Amazon seller, e-commerce ninja, master,
maven,
guru course, and then you bought it expecting like what are they actually buying? They're buying the ability to sell on Amazon. But so they buy the course and then they don't become an Amazon seller. Then I come out with Engineer Truth Premium and say, hey, it's also $1,000. They're like, okay, this other $1,000 course I bought didn't work. Well, how is yours gonna work, right? And even if the course even if the course is good, which most of these courses are good, you cannot just guide someone to making an Amazon store. It's just very, very hard. Even my friends here in the Philippines, they have multiple products already on Amazon. They still have products that fail.
Exactly. It's not a like once you hit the jackpot, it's not a win forever. You're gonna get misses still. Right. Yeah.
So for me, like I'm not a greedy guy. Like if I could get $20 a month and someone buys it and they're like, damn, this is the best $20 a month I ever spent, I'd rather have that feeling than the feeling of, oh wow, I charged this person $1,000 and they didn't get anything out of it.
All right.
You ripped them off. Yeah.
Sounds good. All right, now let's take a break. Let's come back. When we come back, we'll pay it forward, and I'll ask you more questions on how you can actually monetize being a YouTuber. But let's talk about that more after the break.
Effective automation is the best way for businesses to stay competitive. And having a chatbot for your business lets you easily automate and optimize sales, marketing, and customer service in the digital age. Chatbot PH will build, train, maintain, and market your chatbot across all messaging platforms. Our team uses the latest AI technologies to enable you to better serve customers 24/7, 365. Set a meeting with us today. Message us now at m.me/chatbotph.
And we're back from the break. We're still with Matt Tran of Engineered Truth, who just finished a video. Hopefully by the time this comes out in a couple of weeks, it's already out and it has 1 million views. What's the biggest satisfaction, Matt, for a YouTuber, for you? Is it the money? Is it the fame? Is it the impact that you make for you? What's that like?
Actually, when I started it was more selfish in the very beginning.
Got it.
It was more about, okay, can I make money and can I get fame off of this?
Got it.
Because when you're, it's so funny, when you're in your 20s, you want so much attention. I think a lot of it comes from, that's when you see a lot of these pranksters. I mean,
Right.
it was a really big thing
Right.
on YouTube a few years ago.
Yep.
And most of these pranksters were always in their 20s, right? But very rarely in their 30s or 40s would you see pranksters.
True.
And so
Except Steve-O.
Except Steve-O. He's a pro.
Yeah.
And he's pranking them. They're pranking themselves, right? They're
Right,
not even
right.
pranking
Random
strangers
strangers,
on the
right.
street. So in the beginning, it was more about attention. And for me, so growing up in America, I didn't feel very attractive being Asian, an Asian male, because Asian males typically, you don't do very well in the dating scene in America.
Oh, come on
Right?
now.
At least that's how I felt, and
Right.
hopefully maybe you've had the same experience if you ever stayed in America.
Right.
So I thought, okay, but if I'm YouTube famous,
Right. You'll be top of the totem pole.
I'll try to be top of the totem pole, and also
Right.
someone out there will find me, and then
Yep.
they'll come contact me, right?
Right.
And so the popularity was part of that, being more attractive.
Right.
And the second thing was hopefully I could make a living out of it, because
True.
I really wanted multiple sources of income, right? Everyone's I gotta get that multiple source, right? I gotta get that multiple source. So that was part of it. But now that I'm older and I know the money is there, I know the popularity is there. I actually don't even care about the popularity much anymore.
Right.
I actually don't enjoy it at all.
True.
Because I just want more privacy now.
True.
I don't like. I still feel a little bit cringy when people watch my really old videos.
Yeah.
Even when people watch my new videos, I still.
Yeah, but
feel
it's
a little
out there. You
cringy.
can't really do anything about it
and it's
anymore,
still very
right?
helpful to people too.
True.
So, there is that, and also, for me, it's like, so when I originally started the channel,
Right.
it was a lot about the popularity and
Right.
whether I can make money from it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it comes from the fact that maybe I didn't have a lot of attention growing up.
Right.
Wanted a lot of attention. I grew up not feeling very attractive.
Right.
So I felt like, oh, if I have some popularity, the girl will find me, and then that will make my life a lot easier. Which
Right.
it actually does work. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't work.
But it gets old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it gets old, and also it's like I'm not even looking for it anymore. Like it's not even
Right.
part of like my plan, my scheme to find a wife. Like it's just
Cool.
it's there, it's an asset.
Right.
But now I find more joy out of the message that I get from people.
Okay.
Like I'm getting people into Engineer Truth Premium for like
Right.
$20 a month.
Right.
The money is small money.
Right.
But it would be more satisfying for me if someone messaged me saying that, oh, Engineer Truth Premium helped them quit their job. Like my number one thing is getting people to a lifestyle that they like. Now, if that's a job, that's awesome. As we
Sure.
mentioned earlier, like this is all about sharing our values. If
Correct.
like working as an engineer, that's your thing.
Right.
That's your thing. And maybe you could buy some side businesses from multiple sources of income just to feel safer.
Correct.
But as long as you're happy. Now, a lot of people are not happy working as an engineer or an accountant. And so
Right.
that's why I think buying multiple sources of income is really, really important, because that's like your most reliable and efficient escape.
Correct.
And so for me, when I make my content, it has to have that kind of level of impact
Right.
where it's not just like, the reason I can't make entertainment is not, first of all, I'm not entertaining. But the
Right.
second
No,
reason,
dude, if you get 300,000 subscribers,
Yeah.
there's got to be some entertainment factor. You have what the hell are you talking about?
yeah.
Right.
But the second thing, reason why I can't make entertainment
Right.
is because I feel like it's nice. It's like, oh yeah, it's like a viral Facebook video that's funny. Like, oh,
Right.
you know, I subscribe to a lot of these funny things. I subscribe
Right.
to like a lot of dog and cat pages
Yes.
on
Hello.
Facebook, right? I love it. But I feel like it's just like a little temporary relief. It's not really changing my life.
Sure.
And if that page disappears, there's another page that's gonna show up.
Correct. There's
Right.
always gonna a new supply to that demand of new shit that needs to be consumed, right?
And these are all just being curated anyways by
Right.
some kind sort of curating Facebook page.
Right.
But for me, if I feel like, wow, this because of this video I made and I put it up on YouTube or my premium site,
Right.
and someone out there watched it, and
Right.
because of it, they took action, and now they went from a job that they hated to a job
Right.
that they love, or they went from a job that they hated to buying a couple businesses, and now they could travel all over the world. Now I feel like, okay, because of me, because of something I did in this little condo that I have, or back in my parents' house 7 years ago, because of things that I did, because I hit record, edited the video, or had someone edit the video, hit publish, that piece of digital real estate or digital video change someone's life. I think to me that's insane. Like
Correct.
that's like a very fulfilling feeling. And I think over the past 8 years I probably have changed probably around 10 like very like fundamental differences in like probably a couple 100,000.
And it doesn't
lives.
get old. I mean, I'm lucky enough that, some people, actually no, every once in a while, every couple of weeks, every week, some random person who's listened to Hustle Share would always say, hey, thank you very much for that. You've shown a light to what we're doing by empathizing. And that's what the show is for, right? I'm not after the fucking fame. I don't want people fucking with me, to be honest, right? But, it's good to feel that. It never gets old. And it becomes a calling now, right? More than just for the fame. Now, for Matt, you mentioned about monetization, right? What are the things that people should be aware of, especially if they want to monetize their videos? And then also, how do they get real advertisers to be sponsors on the show?
Advertising is hard for a lot of people, including myself. Like, I'm not a sales guy. Like,
Okay.
I was never a sales guy.
Okay.
I grew up in a family that's very anti-sales. My dad never wanted me to be a salesman.
Wow.
My mom never wanted me to be a salesman. They think that sales is the most scammy job they could do. And so I grew up and
Sounds like Wolf of Wall, Jordan Belfort's parents. Like,
Yeah.
have you watched the Wolf of Wall Street? Right? He said, you know what? That's the biggest lie. I'm going to be a salesman myself, but you didn't do the sales. But how did that turn out for you? Given that you now have all these.
so then what ends up happening is if you are an influencer, you are a salesperson.
Exactly. You're a
an internet
persuader.
You're an
Right.
internet salesperson.
Correct.
And that's your job is to sell stuff, whether it's your
Correct.
own stuff or other people's stuff. And so what I've learned over the years is like you really don't know what's going to hit well with your audience in the beginning.
Sure.
And you just have to throw like 10 things, and then one of the things your audience will really really like, and then you form a long-term partnership with that product with
Right.
that company, or you just sell it yourself, right? Something along the lines.
Camping your sale.
But in the end, like the whole moral of the story is like you don't know what to sell. Like you just
Correct.
don't know what to sell, and you also have to sell. Those are the two laws of being influencer on any platform. You don't know what your audience will like,
Right.
but you have to sell something. And the people that don't sell or they don't take any sponsorships,
Right.
It's going to be really hard to make
continue,
money.
right.
Yeah.
In terms of getting the product right or the right stuff, what are the metrics you like to look at? Especially, you said you throw 10 things, but how do you identify the thing that works, and what do you look at, and how do you double down on them?
Well, luckily for for YouTube and Engineer Truth, I could put affiliate links that track the sales.
True.
So I know it's working. And then, if you're looking for a place to start, just recommend things that you already use.
Sure.
I mean, nobody can get mad at that. Well, people will get mad at that.
Yeah.
But like, it's just things that you already use.
Correct. Absolutely.
And if you feel like weird about, I just can't sell to them, we're selling to people all the time. If
Right.
you ever try to convince your friend oh, you should watch a show on Netflix. You're already trying to sell them.
It's persuasion.
You're already persuading them, right? Oh, you should go check out the new Avengers movie, Endgame.
Right.
You're already selling them. It's just that you just don't realize you're selling to them. Like, and when you're being an influencer, you're doing the exact same thing.
Correct. And you don't want to demonize sales too. It's just that, sometimes it gets a bad rep. But persuasion, especially if you do done right, there's two types, right? I mean, I believe that like there's persuasion, and the alter ego of that is manipulation. You want to be persuasive in a way that you give them the liberty to be able to make decisions because of your advice and whatnot, but not manipulate them to do something that's potentially going to be harmful for them.
Yeah, I'll end it with one story. There is I have a lot of younger people following me. High school grads,
right.
fresh college students, and so I get this message from an 18-year-old, and he's like, "Hey Matt, I really like your old content because you used to talk about business and tech, but all you talk about is sales now." And I messaged him back saying, "Look, man, business is sales.
Exactly.
You're never gonna what's technology made for? Technology is made to be sold.
Exactly.
Like if you don't sell, it's not worth anything, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And so I think a lot of people, especially when they're younger, they think, "Oh, I just want to be a business. I want to be a CEO.
Right.
Or I want to be an entrepreneur."
Right.
Good luck being an entrepreneur without selling anything. It's gonna be a really long journey, really hard journey.
No,
if you can be an
right.
entrepreneur without selling anything, I'd be impressed. If you succeed in doing that, reach out to me. I want to hear your story.
Well, you'd love to have you here.
I'd love to have you.
Love to learn from you.
Love to have you. So if you have a negative relationship with sales, your life is always gonna be hard. Whereas people that are really good at selling, their life will always be easy.
Exactly, absolutely, and it's a skill that keeps on giving because if you love it, it just comes naturally. It just you're just talking and it's like sales, but it's not that. It's how you execute that sale. But we can have that in a totally different episode as well. Now, last couple of questions, Matt. In terms of if you were getting a lot of love, right? Let's talk about the flip side of that, criticism. You said you don't care about it now, but how back then when I'm pretty sure that shit would fucking haunt you. But how did you learn how to deal with criticism? And how do you respond to them if you need to?
The way I deal with criticism, and it still tilts me now. I think every YouTuber will still get tilted because they're so personal. I mean, It's the people. It's so weird because for me and a normal mentally healthy person, when you don't like someone's video, you just watch a different video.
Exactly.
That's what a mentally healthy person does. But
if you're a sicko,
but for whatever reason, most YouTube viewers is like, I don't like this person's video, so I'm gonna watch all of them.
Oh my God.
So they'll write really personalized attacks, because I know my story is fragmented across videos, right? So I know if they could piece all the fragments together, they watch most of my videos, and so they come out with this really personal attack, and it gets pretty bad. Like for example, I think this guy, he wrote me, it was a full 5-paragraph essay.
What?
And all about
that's an article.
yeah. It was all about, oh Matt, you can't get girls in America, so that's why you're moving to the Philippines. And you weren't smart enough to be an engineer, so that's why you had to become a YouTuber.
Wow.
And very, very fucking detailed.
Wow.
Of my whole story. And I was thinking wow, this person's so hurt right now, right? So I just deleted. I didn't answer. I was tempted to answer, but there's no point.
Right.
So the way I deal with that is I want to show off even a little bit more. Not front so hard oh, I'm gonna stand in front of a Lambo, but I want to post the picture of me in Boracay with my martini or whatever, my champagne bottle, and just front a little bit even harder, to show just to piss him off, because I know he's watching.
Rub wound on the salt,
and it's petty,
salt on the wound,
but it makes me feel better. And that's the way I deal with criticism, though. In all honesty, is that it just inspires me to make more content and do even better in life.
Got it. So that's it. But have there been a point where you really had to snap and just you fell for the bait?
Snap myself out of it?
Yeah, no, you snapped you fell for it some.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, if you read some of my replies, I'm sure if there's the history of replies, but I mean, I'll still snap on people. I mean, I still snapped on the guy who asked me for tips on how to make YouTube videos, and he's never made a YouTube video. Right. I'll snap on people. Yeah. And I like snapping on people. And when I snap on people, I'm not making it personal. I'm not saying I'm not saying you're
just
dumb.
real talk, right?
I'm shooting straight with them. I'm saying why are you asking me for tips when you haven't made a single video? Correct. Is that snapping on someone, or is that being honest, straightforward, right?
Correct.
And I like being straightforward because in American culture, people are not straightforward with each other.
Right.
I'll give you another story. My cousin wanted to be in video production. Maybe many of you listening right now want to be in video production. So he asked me 2 years ago, hey Matt, like what can I do to work in video production?
Sure.
I said, make a video every week. Make a video every week. It's very simple.
Correct.
Fast forward 2 years later, he has not made a single video.
Wow.
So he's asked me, Matt, is there any like video production boot
It's just
camps?
like entrepreneurship, man. Like a lot of people we call them entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I want to, but nah.
And we mentioned that earlier, and it's okay. It's okay, but you just have to understand that it's not your actual thing that's meant for you.
Right.
And so I told him straight, like, look, video production is not for you.
Got it.
This is not for you. You just have to find something else.
Right.
And nobody else is gonna tell him that because everyone else is gonna tell him, well, Nathan, just try harder.
Right.
You know, like you just go to that boot camp. Like, look, if you haven't made a video for 2 years, you don't like it enough.
Exactly.
You like the idea of making videos, but you don't actually like making videos. You like the idea of being a boxer, but you don't actually like getting punched in the face.
Exactly.
And so I think people need to have that straight talk so that they can find something that is meant for them. It's like leaving that abusive relationship so you can find someone that you're meant for.
Absolutely. Amen. Right there. So last couple ones. So in terms of self-motivation, Matt, what would you advise those people? That again, you said, if you don't like it enough, you're not going to make enough. But is there something that you'd like to put a little seedling in there? Just go through that and just fucking jump. Is there a little kickstart that we can give tips people to?
For me, and I think this is more so if you were born in the middle class, like I was, is that it's really hard to be motivational when you don't have your back against the wall. My motivational period of my time is when I got fired from my third engineering job and I was making practically no money, $250 a month in the US, right? And so I remember going to Starbucks and feeling like this is really expensive, which many of you probably feel here in the Philippines.
Right.
But I just remember going to Starbucks like, wow, this is super expensive. Like, I don't think I could afford this on a daily basis.
Correct.
And meanwhile, all these people are coming to Starbucks like every day, right?
Yeah.
And these are not like celebs or anything. These are people just like working normal jobs, is like getting their daily Starbucks. And I felt like so poor. And that moment, even though it was I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago, it's still in my head. Like, it's still a part of me for sure. And if you've never had those kind of moments of feeling dead broke, it's going to be very hard for you to be motivated, and almost to a point where I actually recommend you to get to a point of feeling dead broke. I think if you're dead broke here in the Philippines, you probably don't have a problem with motivation.
Correct.
It's probably not an issue for you. Like, it's not a thing for you. And then I think another thing is
and
that,
wear that on your sleeve. I know exactly what you feel. I was like that for years when I was doing my first startup. 3 years of being dead broke, but I kept going, right? But right now, whenever I hit the fan, it's like, yeah, I've been through worse.
it doesn't get much worse.
Right, exactly. That's rock bottom right there. Right.
And also, I'm a realist, right?
Sure.
And so I know that as a male, especially if you're self-made, it's very attractive to women. And I'm not gonna lie, like, it's not. And I think men who lie to themselves, like, oh, like, girls, they just want you because of your money and they're gold diggers. like
oh,
like,
gold.
I know.
Where all the time?
You know, I'm very realistic. Like, the more successful I am, self-made success, right? Not my family success. Like, more my self-made success.
Sure.
More attractive I'm gonna be to women. And it's not just about the money, but it's about the character that you build along the way of being self-made that's attractive to women. And I feel like every milestone I hit, it's the character, and the money helps too. It's a nice little bonus. But most importantly, it's the character and the intellect that you have to be to get to that next level.
Amen.
And that understanding of how business works, that business acumen, and also that social understanding of how to manage a team, that I think is what women find attractive. And so for me, I'm very realistic that harder I work and I'm more successful I become, is not only do I live a more comfortable life, but the quality of women I can attract is a lot higher as well.
Absolutely. All right, now any last message for people that want to check you out and get more, be attracted to you? Just kidding.
No.
Where do they have to go? No, I'm just kidding.
But yeah, you guys can follow me on Engineered Truth on Instagram or Engineered Truth on YouTube.
Right. Thank you. And then of course YouTube. Again, thank you very much, Matt. For those people who liked that episode, please don't forget to share us a follow on whatever podcast app you're listening to this on to. And then if you guys want to ask any upcoming hustlers that we're going to feature, please join our community at Hustle Share Community on Facebook, and message our chatbot on m.me/hustleshare powered by chatbot.ph. And again, Matt, thank you very much. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.